Hi, my name is Oluwatosin Olasende. I'm the founder of Money Africa. So Money Africa is a financial literacy platform, and that's basically what we do. We enjoy to teach people about their money to help them approach financial independence. Okay, so I got my first degree at the age of 20 and I worked in South Africa. For the first 4 years, I was living from hand to mouth. And after I relocated back to Nigeria, I remember my mom giving me money in church as offering, and I was very, very upset. I told myself I never wanted that to happen again. I wanted to take charge of my money. So if you look at those that have become successful, they play the long-term game. It's like a seed. You plant the seed, you put in the water, you add some fertilizer, and you wait. It won't happen overnight. So that's the biggest thing about money. For that you can't control, is really beyond you. But for those ones that you can control, we would like you to sit in the driver's seat to actually steer the wheel and take the journey by yourself. Welcome to the heart of the matter. Today, we want to explore how the world is navigating the COVID-19 effects, especially for businesses going digital. Remy, has the world gone fully digital?
I think that the world cannot just go fully digital just like that, because there are still many traditional businesses and there are still various kind of businesses that need human interaction, people going into stores and things like that. But what I think that businesses can do is leverage on digital platforms and digital channels for their businesses. So yes, a lot of businesses can start to leverage digital channels and get accustomed to delivering their services through these channels. And that's what I'm passionate about, showing people and teaching people how they can actually leverage on these channels.
So fantastic. Many small businesses were caught off guard. They were not ready, they were not prepared. And now people will be thinking that it's just small businesses. But guess what? Even some of the big businesses. So we're talking about Primark. Primark did not see a sale in an entire 1 or 2 months till they've now built their digital system. For small businesses that are trying to transition, that are now trying to go online, what is the best strategy to go about?
Hello, my name is Oluremi Martins, founder Natural Girl Wigs, a hair company that provides textured hair for Black women. I'd really just want to share that, the dream of building a company, especially like a digital focused company, can be achieved by anyone. All you need to do is understand the basics and also, your passion. If you're really building a company that sort of resonates with your passion, your own needs as well, you can connect with thousands and millions of people who are just like you. The beautiful thing about the internet is that you can always create a community and connect with people globally, irrespective of where you're from. And I would really just want to share my journey so that people can understand that if I can do this, you can do this as well. I think the best strategy is to first understand your consumers, right? So for some businesses, they can afford to just, build a website or have an e-commerce platform and, just start. For some businesses, because of the kind of customers that they have, they would need to leverage on, platforms such as, say, WhatsApp or say Instagram and, different groups like that. So I think it's understanding the kind of customers you have, understanding what is obtainable, and also seeking knowledge and understanding even these platforms themselves, because it's important for businesses not to just jump in due to communication issues and also brand reputation and other factors like that. So I think for me, I would say look at your customers, look at what is obtainable for you, and also have an understanding of these digital platforms before anything.
Do you know what I loved most about what you said? You actually went for WhatsApp, Instagram, amongst others. Whenever a lot of people hear about a company going digital, they're always thinking that they have to build their own e-commerce system. So letting people know that they actually have cheaper options, they have low-hanging fruits. So for instance, if I don't want to build my own e-commerce platform, what is another way that I can actually achieve this in a coherent form?
This is actually amazing, because even these digital platforms now are now looking at this problem and understanding that there are businesses, there are platforms that want to leverage on digital but are not ready for that step of e-commerce yet. For example, Facebook recently launched Facebook Shop, although it's just launched in the US, for businesses to be able to sell products directly from their product feed and people can make payments easily. They are in partnership with Shopify to make this happen. But what a lot of people don't know is there's already a Facebook Shop option in Facebook if you're in Nigeria here. So even though you cannot, pay through Facebook, you can actually link to a payment platform. Platforms like, say, Paystack, for example, a Nigerian fintech company, they have products that can help you just get payments just through one link. So if you're able to, link this to your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever platform, or even your WhatsApp. Say someone is chatting with you, they want to buy a shoe or a bag from you, you can just send them like a link to your Paystack for them to transact and make payments. So the reason why I'm passionate about these low-end platforms is because that's what the average Nigerian is used to. That's the ground they are familiar with. So there are ways you can sort of like link these platforms together with our homegrown platforms as well, such as Paystack, like I've mentioned, and incorporate them together to drive value for your business. So that's what I think.
Fantastic. I really, really love it. I remember the very first time we were speaking to people that, you have options, there's Paystack, there's Flutterwave. They always thought, oh my gosh, it has to be, it's very, very hard. The requirements are very hard, but it's very nice for us to talk about it and to talk about how easy it is. You don't even have to pay any fee to actually access one of those platforms. So now the next question I want to ask you is this. What are the winning successful tips for a business to actually go digital? What are the must-haves? The very minimum must-haves for a business that actually want to succeed online?
I think the first thing is, say, have a phone or a laptop or whatever. And I think the second thing also is for us to understand that the digital world and the physical or traditional world, they aren't as abstract as people think, right? So people should go in with the mindset of, we're still doing the same thing that we're doing, but just that this time we're doing it over the phone, right? Try to build trust, try to build a community. Don't just sell to people, try to give people value. For example, there's someone I know who has a business they provide stuff for mothers and everything. So aside from providing stuff that mothers need for their children, what they've done is they've created a community where, mothers can also get tips on navigating, motherhood and things like that. And that's like very valuable for women. So if you're a traditional business going into the digital world, have the mindset that you have to provide value beyond sales, because this isn't a situation whereby you have like a shop front. I tell people, think of your Instagram or your WhatsApp as your shop front, right? But it's not your business, right? So what you do to people when they come to your shop is make sure that you're welcoming, make sure that you're kind, you're nice, you're familiar, right? And whatever other thing they buy from you is a part of the business, but how are you welcoming them? So I think that people should first of all have that mindset of community, have the mindset that I need to give people value beyond sales, and also understanding basic etiquettes of like social media. So for example, the way you talk to people on social media, the way you respond to people, you can't just, you shouldn't be rude to people. You shouldn't also be too familiar because you don't really know these people. So just understanding these basics, and also one step at a time. For a lot of companies who are just coming into this zone, they're not really, as comfortable yet. So you need to just be consistent. I think that a lot of people expect magic to happen when they go online because of the several success stories that we are told. But the reality is, just like when you set up a shop today, you might not really get all the customers, but as people start to know you, as people start to know of your service and your product and how good your business is, people are more trusting of you. They can refer their friends, which is one very good thing about digital platforms. A lot of businesses make most of their money through people who have used them and are referring them to like other people. So you want to make sure that you are taking, you're putting your best foot forward and you are representing your brand in the best possible way.
I love it. You've stated some very, very cogent points. One thing I want to latch on more is trust. Trust is a very, very huge element. So for instance, when a delivery company started, they were struggling to get people to actually pay before they received the goods because of trust, right? They wanted to say, no, I will pay on delivery only until I've seen the goods. So if you're able to build trust, you're able to be consistent, you're delivering what you said you would do, you actually see a tremendous growth. Also, you said something about community. I remember when Money Africa started, we just started with 100 people, and then the numbers just started growing because of that community. Another beautiful thing about a community is that other community members can also share their own stories. So the source of the company is not the only source of information. They can all lean on each other to grow. I really, really, really love what you said. So trust and community are critical elements for a thriving digital business to actually survive. So guys, we'll be going on a break and we'll be back shortly. Thank you.
My brother is an addict. He dropped out of school in 2015 and all he does is eat, smoke weed and drink alcohol. He gets violent and would destroy stuff just to get his way. He's been in and out of rehab 4 times, and my parents think it's some kind of spiritual force that needs to be prayed away. I'm afraid for their lives and for my brothers. Please help.
Family life is very important to me because I see the family as being at the center of God's redemptive plan for mankind. Every community has the family as its basic unit. It's the building block of any society.
Family life is a topic which hardly gets the attention it requires. For me, it addresses a lot of things we don't usually talk about.
So I bring this episode of Family Life every week, talking about one segment or the other of family life. We talk about marriage. How do you make marriages better? We talk about parenting. How do you deal with tough, difficult children? We talk about things like divorce, childlessness. We talk about adoption. We talk about a whole variety of things on Family Life with Wale Adefarasi.
I love the fresh perspectives that Pastor Wale gives while still focusing on biblical principles. I believe that if people know better, they will do better.
And so it's important that we give family life the prime of place and the prime of attention. At the moment, we are reaching 8 states of the Federation, and our goal is to be able to reach all 36 states. And so we're looking for partners that will join hands with us, support us in getting this out. Remember, as you join to support or to partner with us in making sure we're able to expand this program beyond our present reach, you are doing something for your nation.
Welcome back to the heart of the matter, where we've been sharing insightful tips on how to navigate your businesses online. Remy, I wanted to talk about local businesses that are thriving in the digital space. The other day I saw a post by August Secret. They sell babies' food, and they're selling babies' food online, giving tips to parents. They have an online community. Even us as Money Africa, we started a digital platform for Money Africa Kids, teaching children financial literacy. Are there other players in that space that are doing an excellent job thriving in that digital space?
Yes, I think that a lot of Nigerian businesses have actually, been doing an amazing job. So kudos to a lot of Nigerian businesses that are, providing us with services that we actually need during this period. Even like fashion stores, for example, Deborah Grace and I think Miss K Boutique are platforms that, they are providing like excellent service with shopping online. They even call you, sort of like walk you through your measurements guide and things like that. So I think a lot of Nigerian businesses are actually doing well navigating digital platforms, and it's good because other businesses can look at them and also emulate what they are doing.
I totally agree. It's quite interesting that people are actually shopping for clothes in a pandemic.
Yeah, the thing is that if people are not going out, some people don't have a lot of clothes for the house.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
An example is me. Most of my clothes are, jeans, t-shirt, and you don't even remember what wearing a jeans feels like right now. So most people want to wear PJs and everything. So what most of these businesses are doing is they're now providing those kind of products that people need, like flip-flops, PJs, like t-shirts, big t-shirts, very innovative, and I'm actually quite happy with what everyone is doing in that space.
Great. So now we've spoken about the local market, and the thing about the local market is that the size is only this big. So for instance, Nigeria has its own GDP. Imagine if you're able to bite a pie in another market. Imagine you're able to tap into the Ghanaian market, you're able to tap into the South African market, you're able to tap into the US market. As a local market in Nigeria, sitting in Lagos or sitting in Benue or sitting in Abuja, how can they target that global market? Leveraging on digital sphere.
Yeah, so what I think is, I think it's about the stories that you tell. So, for example, I always say that the beautiful thing about the internet is that it's accessible for everyone that is on it, and you can reach different parts of the world, right? So, for example, if you're on Twitter, you can, communicate or interact with people who are in America, but because you share some things in common, you guys can, communicate with each other and even build friendships. It's still the same thing as a business. What you want to do is tell the stories that can resonate with people beyond the geographical landmark or anything like that. So, for example, my own business, we provide textured hair extensions for Black women. At the end of the day, our customers are Black women. It doesn't matter if they're Black women in America or Black women in the UK. What's important is that our story resonates with them. We are able to get our products to them. So, you can now talk about your logistic partnership and figuring out operations that will make it possible for you to actually do these deliveries and all of these things. And you can also scale with things like Facebook advertisements.
Sure.
To sort of like test these platforms, right? Sure. A good example, for example, is the Abia State government. I think they had this initiative even before COVID, empowering the tailors in Aba and all of these things. So like once COVID started, these people were now making masks for countries, and like countries in like neighboring African countries, neighboring African states are actually buying these masks now, and they are able to export. Right? So this is something they've prepared for, and I think this is something that anybody can leverage on. So first, test it. Like, do you have a demand in this place? If you're a company selling things for mothers, is this something that mothers in America or mothers
Sure.
in the UK or mothers in Ghana, let's even come closer? Are there things that people need? And one thing I realized about the market is that because Nigeria is a very big country, we have a lot of businesses that are not that much in other countries, like say for example Ghana or Republic of Benin and all of that. So for example, my business, we have a lot of people telling us to come and set up shop in Ghana, and we have a lot of Ghanaian customers. So what you want to do is probably test with ads and even see if there's an organic demand for your product. Then look for a way to scale it up. But I think the gift of the internet is that irrespective of where you are, there are ways you can connect through your stories, through your services to people from all over the world. And that's the opportunity.
I totally agree with you. Another thing is this, right? People do not discriminate a good product. If a product is good, a product is good. I remember the other time we ran an advert for the Money Africa kits. We got signups from Kenya, we got signups from Ghana, we even got signups from the UK. So when a product is good, a product is good. And then leveraging on adverts amongst other things, I really, really found it so insightful. So Remy, do you have any final words for how people can win in this digital era?
Yeah, so I think that it's because there's a lot of information out there, people can also be overwhelmed. So what I would advise is people should take it one step at a time. If you're trying to make the best use of your WhatsApp or your Instagram, start with that before you go to other platforms, and also be consistent. Yes.
So for everyone that wants to tap into the global market, this is the time to do it. Tell a fantastic story, run a Facebook ad, be visible, put in proper structure. Another big thing here is the payments, because when they want to pay you in dollars or pay you in pounds or pay you in Ghanaian cedis, make sure that you have a payment structure in place to be able to also collect and receive. And there are lots of companies doing that, solving that payments problems locally. So you are right and good to go. Do not let anything hinder you. I hope you found this session very insightful as you navigate your online businesses or even transition to online. From me and Remy today, and thank you for listening to The Heart of the Matter. Do take care.
Any things you want to ask about social media and the church?
I wanted to ask, how powerful is social media? I think sometimes if you want to tell someone to do something, it's best to tell them why they need to do it. So how powerful is it, and what are the consequences of this new age?
It's the most powerful thing that you have now. That is the new sociology now. That's what I'm trying to get across to the church. It's not something that some 17-year-olds and 25-year-olds are doing. That is the new sociology. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an illustration. If you look at the average church in the country, or any church anywhere in the world, minus the mega churches that can sit 50,000 or 70,000, the average church can't sit more than 5,000 to 10,000 people. But the pastor on social media can reach 1 million people with just one post. There is no church that can accommodate 1 million people. So it becomes very obvious to me that the social media is an implement for evangelism in this, what we call the end times. It's so obvious. And the cost of social media relative to acquisition of a soul, relative to what happens in church, is entirely minimal. All a church needs to do is to set its sights on that thing, devote resources to it, and the church will reach more people than it can ever reach. So social media is it. It's an entire world. It has its own league. It has its own code. It has its own language. It has its own structure that is completely at variance and independent of what we normally call life. And if the church doesn't get into that, we're going to end up just being a genealogical staple pin for the next generation. We're not going to be able to pass on the values and the attributes of God to the next generation, and that spells doom for the church. Right now in the digital age, I've spoken about the culture of this digital age, but even the structure of and the format of the digital age. If I were given a brief to design a church today, it will not be this traditional architecture. For one, all the walls will be screens, okay? And on those screens, as the service is being broadcast, people are tweeting. I mean, gone are the days when you say don't tweet during service. In this day and age, the Lord gives the word, great are many that publish it, okay? Then those tweets are going on in there, and the pastor can tell what is resonating with the congregation and what is not resonating. And people can send in questions. A section of the service ought to be devoted to answering questions from all over the world. And as those questions are coming in, those things are being treated and people are seeing what is going on. I will also develop an app. I will imagine the church to be like an aeroplane, an airplane, in which you have your own digital console. And on that digital console, everybody comes to church. We've all downloaded this stuff onto our laptops or iPads and things like that. And on that digital console, I can give my offering. I can see the thread of what is going on. I can pause, replay a part of the sermon that I like or I don't like. I can download material from that app onto my phone and take church home with me. I do everything on that digital console. And that's the future. Technology is the future. It is God releasing information for the propagation of His word. That has always been the pattern. We missed television. We missed radio. We can't afford to miss social media. Technology is amoral. It's asexual. It doesn't care what is put on it. We must separate technology from the content, the platform from the content. The thing that the church cannot do is to be absent. Or else you cede that space to the devil. When Paul wrote a letter, he didn't number it in verses. It was for easy reference that we began to number. So it occurred to me that you can write a letter to a young man who you are mentoring and you serialize it in verses, which is exactly because the average size of a Bible verse is the size of a tweet, 140 characters. So that gave me sense that you can serialize an entire letter into, say, 39 verses, 60 verses. And so people respond to those verses. And then they write you further for further engagement, and then you have more time to minister to them and attend to the particular issue that they have. Now, what the pastor needs is patience. The fruit of the Spirit has to be strong in you when they come after you, and also the ability to control yourself and be temperate in all things. There'll be people who will abuse you, and that is okay. Most of the time you find that they're just looking for attention. So you ignore, or you answer politely, or you bless. And what we've been able to prove is that you can have a gentlemanly culture on social media without descending into the cesspool with the pigs. We've been able to show that for almost 2 years now, and it's working. The idea that you have to be on television is something that has to perish if you want to reach this generation, because they're not watching television. The mobile phone has become the platform for everything. It's the most powerful tool in the world today. The church must be on the mobile phone. I don't care how the church does it. If it means that the pastor has to write regular sermons and serialize those sermons, just put positive content out there. People are looking for encouragement. People are looking for know-how. People are looking for information on how to have successful relationships. It's so important that the church is there, else there's no modulating influence in that medium, in that space. That's the problem. So just write, even if it's just tweet one verse of the Bible every morning. it's enough. As long as it's powerful and it ministers, but it takes dedication. It's not something that you do offhandedly. It has to be, there has to be a team. There has to be dedication and all that stuff. That is what the church doesn't want to do. And so we keep on gravitating towards what I call dumb technology. Television is a dumb technology. It has no feedback system. You just push it out there, and it's expensive. Social media costs, the most expensive thing about it is personnel.